Good evening, everyone. I want to start with a question. When was the last time you truly disappeared? Not physically, not by booking a flight to some remote island, but emotionally, mentally. When was the last time you stepped back from the noise, the expectations, the need to be everything for everyone? We live in a world that glorifies presence. We are told to show up, speak up, be seen, be heard. We equate visibility with success, and we wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor, as if the more depleted we are, the more valuable we become. But what if I told you the opposite is true? What if disappearing, stepping back, retreating, being still isn't a sign of weakness, but a radical act of strength? Somewhere along the way, we started believing that if we are not seen, we are not needed. If we are not responding, we are irrelevant. If we are not in the room, we have lost our place at the table. But let me tell you something, silence doesn't erase you. Stillness doesn't diminish you. Disappearing doesn't make you any less worthy. It is in the disappearing that we find ourselves again. When we step away from the constant demand to be on, we make space to listen to ourselves, to our instincts, to the truths we've been too busy to hear. We allow clarity to emerge. We remember what matters. Disappearing isn't about running away, it's about recalibrating. It's about choosing when and how we engage with the world. It's about realizing that we don't have to respond to every call, answer every email, post every thought, or explain every decision. And maybe the hardest part is trusting that when we step back, the world will keep spinning. We are terrified of being forgotten. We think if we disappear, people will move on. Maybe they will. But the ones who truly see you, who value you for who you are, not just for what you provide, they will still be there. And when you return, you won't be the same. You'll be stronger, clearer, more whole. So if you are feeling stretched too thin, if you are exhausted by the need to perform, if you are craving something deeper than applause, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to disappear. Not forever, not out of fear, but so that when you come back, you return as the person you were always meant to be. Let's talk about stillness. Not the kind where you simply stop moving, but the kind that forces you to truly be with yourself. The kind of stillness that makes you uncomfortable at first, because for the first time in a long time, there's no distraction, no noise, no applause, no validation, just you. We live in a culture that rewards movement. We praise productivity, celebrate hustle, and glorify the ability to do 1,000 things at once. We tell ourselves that if we just keep going, if we just keep pushing, we'll eventually arrive somewhere that makes all the exhaustion worth it. But let me ask you this. Have you ever stopped to wonder where there actually is? Because so many of us are running so fast that we don't even know what we're running toward anymore. We are addicted to busyness, mistaking it for purpose. We keep our schedules full so we don't have to sit alone with our thoughts. We fill every silence with noise because the quiet scares us. And we believe that if we just keep showing up, keep saying yes, keep proving our worth, we'll feel fulfilled. But what if fulfillment isn't in the doing? What if the thing we are looking for, the thing we are chasing, can only be found when we stop moving long enough to actually see it? Stillness is not laziness. It's not complacency. It's not a lack of ambition. In fact, it is one of the hardest and bravest things you will ever do, because stillness forces you to confront what you've been running from. It holds up a mirror and asks you, who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when you're not performing, achieving, or impressing? Stillness requires trust, the trust that even when you pause, your value remains, that even when you are quiet, your voice still matters, that even when you step back, the world will not forget you. It is in stillness that we heal. It is in stillness that we process. It is in stillness that we realize how much of what we have been carrying was never ours to hold in the first place. So if you are tired, not just tired, but soul weary, bone deep exhausted, maybe it's not because you need to do more. Maybe it's because you need to do less. Maybe it's because you need to stop. Maybe it's because you need to disappear, not forever, not out of fear, but long enough to hear yourself again. Because in a world that demands constant movement, sometimes the most radical thing you can do is be still. It didn't happen all at once. It was slow, subtle, so gradual that we didn't even notice it was happening. A small compromise here, a little silence there, a choice to fit in rather than stand out, a decision to meet expectations rather than honor our own needs. We became who we were supposed to be. And at first it felt good, maybe even right. After all, we were praised for it. We were rewarded for being agreeable, for being adaptable, for making others comfortable. We learned how to shape shift, how to mold ourselves to fit the roles assigned to us. But over time, something happened. We started to feel disconnected from our own thoughts, from our own desires, from the version of ourselves that once felt whole. We began to feel like we were living someone else's life, playing a character in a story we never wrote. And then, one day, we wake up and realize, I don't even recognize myself anymore. This is what happens when we live for the approval of others. When we define ourselves by our productivity, our achievements, our ability to please, we give away pieces of ourselves, little by little, until there's nothing left to hold on to. But here's the thing about losing yourself. You can always find your way back. Reclaiming ourselves is not about going back to who we were before the world told us who to be. It's about remembering that deep down, beneath all the expectations, the conditioning, the obligations, and the masks we've worn, we are still there. It starts with unlearning, with questioning everything we thought we had to be, with sitting in the discomfort of realizing that some of the dreams we've been chasing aren't even ours, with accepting that the version of ourselves we've been presenting to the world might not be the one we truly want to be. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable, because reclaiming yourself means disappointing people. It means saying no when you've been saying yes for too long. It means walking away from relationships that only love the version of you that serves them. It means sitting in the loneliness of not knowing who you are anymore before slowly, gently rediscovering the person you were always meant to be. Reclaiming yourself isn't a one-time decision, it's a process. A daily practice of choosing yourself, of listening to your own voice, of trusting that who you are, without the masks, without the validation, without the constant proving, is enough. So if you're feeling lost, if you're looking in the mirror and wondering where you went, I want you to know this: you are still there. Beneath the expectations, beneath the exhaustion, beneath the roles you've been playing, and it's time to come back home to yourself. There's a quiet fear that lingers in all of us, a fear we don't often say out loud, but one that shapes so many of our choices. What if I disappear and no one notices? What if I step back and the world moves on without me? What if the people I love stop thinking about me? What if my absence isn't felt? What if I become irrelevant? This fear runs deep because at our core, we all want to matter. We want to be remembered. We want to know that our presence makes a difference, that our voice is heard, that our work, our love, our very existence leaves an imprint. And so we keep showing up. Even when we're exhausted, even when we're stretched too thin, even when we feel like we're losing ourselves in the process, we post, we respond, we say yes when we want to say no, we overextend, we make sure we are seen, because to be seen is to be real. right? To be included, to be relevant, to be wanted. But here's the hard truth. No matter how much we do, no matter how loudly we live, the world will keep spinning with or without us. People will move on. Their lives will continue. The spotlight will shift. And that is not a reflection of our worth. It is simply the nature of life. We fear being forgotten because we equate being out of sight with being out of mind. We assume that if people don't constantly see us, they'll stop caring. That if we take a step back, we'll lose our place. But the truth is, real connections, the ones that matter, don't disappear just because you do. Think about the people you love most, the ones who have impacted you in ways words can't explain. Maybe they were mentors, friends, family. Maybe they were a stranger who showed you kindness in a moment you needed it most. Now ask yourself this: do you remember them because they were always visible? Or do you remember them because of the way they made you feel, because of the way they showed up? Not for attention, but with intention. Being remembered isn't about constant presence. It's about meaningful impact. It's about how you exist in people's lives, not how often they see you. The truth is, we don't need to be in the room to matter. We don't need to post every thought, attend every event, answer every call. We don't need to exhaust ourselves trying to prove our existence. The people who truly see you, the ones who value you for who you are, not just for what you provide, won't forget you when you take time to rest, to heal, to disappear for a while. And if someone does forget you the moment you step away, maybe that's proof that you never truly mattered to them in the first place. So let go of the fear. You are not here to perform for the world. You are here to live, to grow, to evolve, and sometimes that means stepping away. You are not forgotten. You are not replaceable. You are not defined by how visible you are. You matter, whether the world is watching or not. From the time we are young, we are taught that visibility equals value, that the more seen we are, the more important we must be. We are praised for achievement, for standing out, for making our mark in ways that are loud and noticeable. And so we chase it. We chase recognition. We chase relevance. We chase the applause, the approval, the reassurance that we matter. And when we get it, when the spotlight lands on us, when people are watching, when the validation rolls in, it feels good. It feels right. It feels like proof that we are on the right path. But what happens when the spotlight shifts? Because it will shift. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually the attention moves. The world finds something new to focus on. The applause dies down. The people who once needed you, who once hung onto your every word, find someone else to follow. And if you've built your sense of worth around being seen, around being heard, around being needed, that shift can feel devastating. We hold on so tightly to the spotlight because we think it defines us. We think that stepping back means fading away, that if we're not the one being watched, we'll become invisible, forgotten, unimportant. But here's the truth. The spotlight is not the source of your worth. Your value does not come from how many people see you. It does not come from how much attention you get. It does not come from how loudly the world praises you. And letting go of the spotlight, that's not a loss, it's a gift. Because the spotlight is exhausting. It demands that you always be on. It leaves little room for mistakes, for growth, for quiet transformation. It makes you feel like you have to keep proving yourself over and over again just to stay relevant. But life, real life, is not lived under a spotlight. It's lived in the quiet moments, in the deep conversations, In the times when no one is watching, but you are still showing up with love, with kindness, with authenticity. Letting go of the spotlight means releasing the need to perform. It means giving yourself permission to exist outside of constant validation. It means knowing that even in the background, even in the stillness, even when the world is not watching, you still matter. So if you feel the pressure to always be seen, to always be relevant, to always be achieving, ask yourself, who am I without the spotlight? Because that person, the one who exists beyond the recognition, beyond the applause, beyond the expectations, that's the person who is real. That's the person who is free. We live in a world that demands constant access. We are expected to share everything, the details of our day, our thoughts, our struggles, our triumphs. We are encouraged to be transparent, to be open, to be available at all times. Social media has convinced us that if we are not updating, posting, sharing, and explaining, we are falling behind. But in this endless pursuit of visibility, we have forgotten something powerful, the gift of mystery. Mystery is not about secrecy, it's not about hiding, it's not about being closed off or unwilling to connect. It's about knowing that not everything needs to be shared. Some of the most beautiful things in life thrive in the unseen, in the quiet, in the unspoken. The deepest connections don't always need constant conversation. The most powerful presence doesn't always need explanation. The most interesting people are not the ones who tell you everything. They are the ones who leave space for curiosity, for discovery, for depth. But we fear mystery, don't we? We fear being misunderstood. We fear people making assumptions about us. We fear that if we don't constantly remind the world of who we are, they will forget us. And so we over-explain, we justify, we give away too much of ourselves in an attempt to control how we are perceived. We live in a constant state of performance, trying to prove that we are good, that we are worthy, that we are valuable. But here's the truth. You do not have to be fully known to be fully valued. There is power in leaving things unsaid. There is strength in being selective with your energy, your presence, your words. There is beauty in allowing others to wonder, to question, to seek you out, rather than feeling obligated to lay everything bare. Think about the people who captivate you the most. Are they the ones who give everything away at once? Or are they the ones who hold something back, who carry a quiet confidence, who make you lean in because you want to know more? There is something magnetic about a person who doesn't need to be constantly seen to feel secure. Someone who doesn't feel the need to overshare or prove themselves, someone who understands that their worth isn't in their visibility, but in their presence, however and whenever they choose to show up. Mystery is a form of self-respect. It is a way of protecting your peace. It is a declaration that your life, your thoughts, your experiences are sacred and they do not have to be consumed by everyone all the time. So the next time you feel pressure to explain yourself, to prove yourself, to be more available than you truly want to be, pause. Ask yourself, what do I gain by holding this close? What do I lose by giving it all away? Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let them wonder. Disappearing isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of a transformation. When we step away, when we take the time to be still, to reclaim ourselves, to embrace mystery, we aren't just withdrawing, we are preparing, we are recalibrating. We are learning how to return, not out of obligation or fear of being forgotten, but with intention. But here's the thing. The world doesn't teach us how to return. We know how to grind, we know how to push ourselves to the brink, we know how to stay visible, stay relevant, stay exhausted, trying to prove we matter. But what happens when we've stepped back? When we've disappeared for a while, to rest, to heal, to unlearn? How do we return in a way that honors what we've discovered in the quiet? The difference between emerging and resurfacing. There's a difference between simply resurfacing and emerging with purpose. Resurfacing is what we do when we're afraid of being left behind. It's when we jump back into the world the moment we feel forgotten, when we re-engage in the same cycles, the same busyness, the same need for validation, because that's what feels familiar. But emerging, that's different. Emerging means we don't just return to the noise. We return on our own terms. We come back with clarity, with direction, with a deeper understanding of who we are and what truly matters to us. We no longer say yes to everything just to stay relevant. We no longer fill our schedules just to feel important. We no longer chase approval because we've learned that our worth isn't found in the applause. It's found in the quiet confidence of knowing ourselves. The strength to be selective, emerging with purpose, means being intentional about how we show up in the world. It means asking ourselves, do I really want to step back into this space, or am I doing it because I feel like I should? Am I returning as the same person, or has my time away changed what I want and need? Does this version of my life align with who I've become, or am I shrinking myself to fit back into old patterns? We don't have to come back to everything we left behind. Some relationships, some commitments, some environments may no longer fit, and that's okay. Emerging with purpose means understanding that growth often comes with loss. It means having the courage to say that version of me no longer exists, and I will not apologize for evolving, moving differently, speaking differently, living differently. The world will notice when you return differently. When you are no longer so easily accessible, when you no longer over-explain, when you are more deliberate with your energy, when you speak less but say more. Some will be confused, some will resist, some will try to pull you back into the version of yourself that was easier for them to understand, easier for them to control, but that is not your burden to carry. You are not here to make everyone comfortable with your growth. You are not here to shrink yourself to fit a life you've outgrown. You disappeared for a reason. You stepped back for a reason. You reclaimed yourself for a reason. Now you emerge. Not as who the world expects you to be, but as who you were always meant to become. Disappearing isn't about giving up. It's not about running away. It's about choosing yourself in a world that constantly demands you to perform, to prove, to be endlessly available. It's about stepping back so you can hear your own voice again, so you can separate who you truly are from who the world has told you to be. It's about reclaiming your energy, embracing mystery, and learning that your worth isn't found in how many people are watching, but in how deeply you are living. And when you return, when you emerge, it won't be out of fear of being forgotten. It won't be out of obligation or pressure to keep up. You will return with purpose, with clarity, with a sense of self so unshakable that no spotlight, no approval, no fleeting moment of recognition will define you. So let them wonder. Let the world move on without you for a little while. Because when you come back, you won't just be seen, you'll be known, not by everyone, not by the masses, but by yourself. And that is the most powerful thing of all